right, this is going to be whatever episode. I think it's the fifth one, maybe, of the best Damn League Show period. And of course, it is the show where me and Dom talk about the LEC. Even though at the beginning of the series, we did say it's not going to be like the Crackdown, where obviously, in theory, the Crackdown every episode was supposed to be a guest, and we centered it around them. Beyond, I think maybe like the Froggen episode or something. I can't remember if we did any of the two-man episodes. I don't think so. But basically, or maybe we did for like one of those ones where it was like a world's list or some shit like that, doing like a ranking thing. If you didn't notice, on the last episode, we did have a guest, but one, it was a straight fire player. It was like a fucking massive big name that everyone would be interested in talking to. And two, even so, you notice I didn't just make the show only an interview with him, which is, in my opinion, what always the problem will be when you have guests on the show. I mean, you probably even see it as a streamer, Dom, because I know you read Twitch chat and I don't, right? Fans can't handle the idea that, like, they're a fan of the player, but, like, other people on the show need to talk too. Their whole thing's just like, why isn't he talking? Like, but let Alfari talk like that. And you might just be talking about something, like, totally different that he has no opinion on, you might be giving some, like, sidebar about fucking CSGO or whatever. So anyway, the point is, we will have guests on future episodes as well, but it'll be sparingly, and it's going to largely be when it's, like, the right guest. We're not just going to get someone every week. So, for example, this week, we're back to the usual format. I just thought it would be cool for the last one to break it up a little bit, because since the show is directly and essentially only about LEC, we are essentially covering people playing two get best of ones a week each team. So I just want to keep it a bit fresh. So in line with that, we're back with the two-man show. I've got loads of interesting topics and tangents for this one. Right, what about this, Dom? I thought actually the first team we should start with is actually Vitality. Since, listen, even though we do give our opinions, you give your opinions very differently when someone is on the show, when they're not on the show. So I want to start with the aforementioned Alfari, because we couldn't get into it too much on the show. Like, I gave him his chance to talk about this. This is where, unfortunately, like, interviews and talk shows don't always blur perfectly, right? There's a topic I've noticed people on Reddit and in the community, when narratives get set about a player, they just cannot break it no matter what you do, right? Mm-hmm. That whole narrative that I put to Alfari last week, which essentially does have a grain of truth to it from years ago, and maybe in his origin days, for example, which goes like this. Yeah, Alfari is sick in lane. He is always up in CS, but what does he do with the out of lane, though? He does nothing. He wastes it. And it's always used in the context of, like, he can't actually be the best top laner because they're trying to make it like he's only a laner. He shouldn't have jungle attention as often another angle. Maybe they want a different laner to get it, whatever. Or it's just like, he's essentially like overhyped as a star player. I want to get, where do you come down on that topic? Like, right today's Alfari in Vitality, not the one from years ago, today. So where do you come down on it?
Well, I still think there's an element of truth to it. I mean, like, when I watch him play, I mean, I think about last week's game, right? They were playing the Camille Galio comp. He has that one weird TP, like, kind of into the middle of the team, dies when
he was pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, he could have potentially opened up the base.
Yes. He could have just split pushed, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, he could have kept on going. I think the problem is that, like, almost no top laners are good at like TPing well on bad teams. Like, yes. Out of all the top laners that I think about, maybe like Whippo had moments where Fnatic was struggling, but he was always really good with his TP. But even Wonder, I mean, like, you think about some of the TPs that you see, like the Fnatic TP, where he just TPs directly into the whole enemy team, just like Alfari and dies. Yes. It just feels like when teams are really dysfunctional, the communication is so bad that you pretty much are just making your own judgment. And if you're not watching the fight, if you're split pushing, you're actually like, in 1 second be like, oh, we're going to take this turret here. Like, I am actually trying to open, don't fight. And then you see your team fighting. It's like, oh shit, we are fighting. Do I TP? Do I not? A lot of people aren't that good at that. And yes. I feel like you just don't really get away with bad TPs when you're on a bad team. Like, if you're on a good team, sometimes you can have a bad TP every now and then, and it won't really matter too much unless you're playing against like a straight top-notch opponent. But in some of these games, I mean, the game is all on him, right? Like, in this Galio game, Perks is 0-4. He's playing Galio. You have Alfari on the Camille. The whole game's on him to carry. Like, that Diana wasn't doing shit.
He was looking fucking good on the Camille, I have to say.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just feel like, it's just very obvious when Alfari fucks up, because it's not like he fucks up and it's like the rest of the game is stable. It's like he fucks up and then the whole game is fucking over because he's the only one that can actually carry.
I thought another angle that I think, like, by the way, I think actually Alfari's answer was a pretty interesting one, and he thought made a good point. He essentially just said, maybe it's just that I am the best at laning, but I'm just not as good in the other areas. It's not that, like, he's terrible at the mid game and the lane. It's just that maybe there are people who are better. I would go one further and say this, right? One thing I hate, Dom, is when people say someone's bad at something, but then there's not anyone they think is better. It's like, how does that make any sense? So I would say to anyone who's a massive critic of Alfari in that sense would be this. Am I missing something? What other teams in the West play around a fucking top laner every game? Who the fuck does that? Nobody. Dude, there's barely any teams even play through top lane in the West. Like, I think it's a totally ridiculous, like, comparison. Because the point is, Alfari is so good at laning, and in the modern day, if you look at some of the jungle champions being picked, they should fucking go top some of the time. Like, it's just logical you would get him ahead as much as you can. Now, whether or not he's that good beyond that, first of all, on the teleport angle, I think you raised an interesting point there, because the most classic example people will know of where I used to always use teleport as a joke, right, was Looper in Samsung White. Because my joke was, all he obviously did was, it's like he was just like the third summoner spell for fucking Mata, wasn't he? It's like Mata just pressed a button and then Looper just teleported into the bot lane for the gank that they always did, those like 4v2 ganks or whatever, right? That's like an extreme version, but I actually think in general, as far as I can tell, dude, even before when you could cancel TPs, good TPs were always based around like having a good shot caller elsewhere on the map. Classically, like a bot lane support's a perfect one, because obviously if you are specifically coming to do a gank for him, he can help you set it up. A mid lane is another classic one if they know what they're doing. Like, as you say, if you're on a bad team and you're just playing with just players, it's basically just going to all be your decision making as to whether you make that TP or not. And in the modern day, think about how risky it is now. Like, you're just committed to that shit if you do it. So I think that topic's way more complicated than people make out. I just wondered what you thought in general, because I think there's a seed of truth to it. Like, I've put that point to Alfari myself in the past. Like, sometimes I did think, like, mate, think of some of the players I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of people who are really good laners. I do think if you're a really good laner, you should then be using that lead to do something on the map. But I also just think, like, it's suspicious to me they never give an example of the people they think are better than Alfari in that sense. Have you noticed that? There's not a go-to example of a Western top laner who they think is amazing once he has the lead in lane and go like. So I think it's to me some of it's almost like I think it's a bit of a disingenuous like setup even though I would agree he's not as amazing outside of lane, sure.
I think another thing that's worth talking about is just how Origin or how Vitality plays right now, because it's not like the same as the old Origin lineup where you have like a monster in the bot lane where you had that push and pull where it's like, okay, Upset's a fucking beast, Alfari's a fucking beast. The middle of the map is on fire and our support is fucking Jack Troll. Like, what do we do? Like, how do we solve this impossible problem? Because both laners theoretically want to be played around. In this team, they try, like, you saw the game where they were like, we are playing around bot. Selfmade fucked his own jungle to play Trundle. Gank bot, floor Karzi's Vayne, he gets 2 kills, and then he just runs it down with the lead. The bot lane is not reliable. So this team functions the best when their bot lane is just there, and they're just supposed to weak side, show up, avoid enemy pressure. I think that's actually one of the strengths of Vitality's bot lane, is sometimes they die to like these 4-mans, sometimes they fuck themselves where they like have no really good options. But I feel like Karzi actually understands like when he needs to sack waves, when he needs to like leave his turret, because he obviously played on the Mad Lions team, and there was a lot of times where Kaiser was just not in lane with him, and he had to make those decisions. So I feel like that's a skill set he actually has. And I feel like Vitality just needs to double down on it. Like, yeah, your top side is Perks, Alfari, Selfmade. Get Alfari ahead. Like, I don't know. I don't think you need to pick a champion like Galio and really all in the strategy. Like, we need the Galio Camille to enable him. I just think you need to allow him to go to work. You set up the map in a way where he's not getting fucked. He's not the one that's dropping waves to respond to jungle and mid pressure that's coming to his lane, or there's not a support in his lane randomly and he's the one that's having to sack waves. You try to set up the map in a way where he is able to actually play the lane as aggressively as possible, and you just enable him to use that skill set that he has so well. And I feel like Vitality still haven't unlocked how they want to play, because a couple of weeks ago they're playing around Karzi. I think they have that super team mentality where they're like, oh, we're all superstars. We can do anything. We can play the map in any way that's actually possible. But in reality, no super team actually functions like that, really. Like, there's always people that have better strengths, and normally the way that they complement each other is what makes them an actual super team. So I want to see Vitality actually find an identity, because I still don't know what they think they are. Like, I know what I think they are, but I don't know how they view themselves. Like, what is their path to winning games in LEC?
Yes, because one of the reasons I wanted us to talk about Vitality is, like, let's be real, their team is still looking fucking ropey. Like, they got it together after that first week, but they've regressed, if anything. Like, they're looking pretty shaky right now. And because they had that 0-3 start, I made this point before, it's not that they couldn't turn it around, it's that when you turn it around, when you go 0-3, you essentially have to have, like, one of the best win rates in the league if you want to then finish top. So even though since the first week they're, like, 60% win rate, That's not that good. So, like, if you notice now, they're 6-7 their record, and all of a sudden, we'll talk about them later. But because of the whole Mickey XXL thing, suddenly the playoff race is really fucking dodgy. It isn't the case that there's the top 6 is obvious, and then it'll be XL plus the bad 3. Like, no, that ain't obvious anymore. Actually, there are so many things could happen in this Super Week that, like, here's the reason why I wanted to focus on Vitality first, because I know that the vibe with Vitality is sort of like what Alfari alluded to. It's like every Perks team in the last 3 years. It's like, who cares about the regular split? We'll get into the playoffs and then we'll fix our shit then. It's like, mate, you might not get to the playoffs. There's a real world where that might happen. Now, I don't know, because as we talk about Mad Lions later, I'm sort of super out of Mad Lions, but you just look at the standings. So what I would say is this: if we're identifying issues, you brought it up there, I want to go into it a little bit. I know on paper, obviously Labrov and Kazi are big names on paper, Dom, but if I took the nameplates off and just showed you the games that they played this split, aren't they one of the worst actual bot lanes? Isn't that fair? It's hard to think of many that are worse, I
mean, it depends. Yeah, I mean, I would say that. I mean, I would say that Labrov specifically, I think like Karzy is just like, I mean, he's whatever. I mean, he's thrown some games. He's definitely not played well. I feel like Labrov is almost like never having redeeming qualities.
He's never shown up this split, has he? You know what I mean? Like, it's like everyone's waiting for him to. I've never actually seen this guy that was the hyped guy from a few years back now.
I mean, I just see him sitting bot lane most of the time, and they're just like slowly losing, and they're just trying. Like, I feel like he's a passenger. He's not somebody who's actually going to take the game by the balls and actually win you the fucking game by like roaming a support. Like, even Promise Q is playing better than him right now.
There we go.
I mean, real talk. Like, Promise
I know you meant it as a compliment, but it just sounds like the ultimate diss, doesn't it? But yeah, I know what you mean. Actually, Promise Q hasn't been as bad as people would expect.
No, he's been pretty good. I mean, like, you look at the other supports right now. Okay, so like, if we're gonna look at the last few weeks, let's take the last 3 weeks, and we give like Promise Q, Treats, like these are the supports on the worst team. Maybe he's been okay. Like, I mean, I feel like Limit, his team has just been really throwing the game. I wouldn't say that Limit's been a worse support than Labrov. It's just maybe it's a toss up there. It's hard to find supports that actually are having like that rough of a time. Maybe Mersa on Misfits is actually not having the best games.
That's one. Yeah, that's one. The other thing as well, here's how you know, by the way, that I haven't been that impressed with Labrov this split, dude, is even when you're listing those names who, aren't in like their best splits, but they've had past splits with a good limit, Treats. Dude, I would take those guys for Vitality tomorrow. If I could do that trade right now, I'd take Treats in a fucking heartbeat. That would be the upgrade you need.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the problem is that like those guys have identified how they need to play and how they're going to win games. Like, when you watch Treats play now, you look at his draft, it's Leona, it's engage supports. He knows that he's the guy that has to play engage supports for his team. They tried all the creative bullshit earlier on. They were trying like the Lulu drafts and things like that, and they realized the way that we're going to win, like, we need to win fucking games right now. The way we're going to win is we have to like simplify things, and in order for our team to actually be able to win fights, we need Treats engaging for us. Like, that is what SK needs. I feel like Vitality doesn't know what they need, and the biggest problem for me is that neither Labrov or Selfmade seems like they can actually lead the jungle support duo, which is so important to gameplay in general. Like,
they certainly can't, by the way, because I was going to bring this up after this, but I actually saw an interview that Selfmade did with, let me see, it was with Hot Spawn, not a site I'm super familiar with, but I do know the guys, like a real LEC journalist who did the interview, and basically he actually straight up says that like him and Labrov basically don't play very well together, and that Selfmade himself is just sort of focusing on the top side of the map right now. Dude, that's actually insane when you consider Labrov himself was supposedly, I've heard, like a quiet support player, and then you add in what you said a few episodes back, which is these dudes already played a split together. Like, if anything, they should be the ones that have the synergy. Like, it looks to me, mate, like they're never going to have any synergy. If it's waiting this long, like, what fundamentally is going to change?
Well, yeah, I don't see it happening. And the thing is, like, they do the same things every single game. Like, I still have not seen a timer where Labrov is like, hey, I can ditch my AD carry, and I'm just going to group up with Selfmade and make something happen on the top side of the map. It just feels like he is linked to Karzy, which is so weird, because when you think about Mad Lions last year, Karzy was like fine laning 1v2. Kaiser would be all over the fucking map with El Yoyo, with Humanoid. Like, he would be playing the whole fucking map. I mean, we could get into the Kaiser situation later and how he's not doing that this split as proficiently and where that might come from. But he was able to play. Karzi's able to be left alone if you have a good roam timing. It's just that it seems like Labrov doesn't know like when he should base in order to make these roam timings happen. And it doesn't feel like they're confident in that and actually getting anything done. Like, I'm sure that they've tried it, but they just don't do it at the right times. I'm sure that when they scrim, they're like, okay, like, we grouped our support in jungle, but we got nothing done. Like, they need to get back to like the basic ones, like, okay, Herald is spawning at 8 minutes. We are going to like roam there and we're going to be first on it. We're going to look for a pick while they walk in if we have priority top, which you're going to have with Alfari most of the time. Like, I feel like these are the situations that I want to see more from Vitality. And the thing that worries me is that neither of them seem like they have the personality to be that. Like, if you look at other teams, for example, right? In BDS, you have Synkrov, somebody who's really vocal, that's very confident in what he wants to do during the game. If you look at SK, you have Treats, another player, very vocal. Like, he will tell you, hey, I want to engage here. I want to go make this play. Like, I'm going to base. We're going to do something. You look at Astralis, Promiscu, even though he's been like hit or miss, and I mean, he's been like, obviously hasn't had a great career up until this point. I actually think he's been playing pretty well this split, realistically, but you know, he's the type of guy where he's actually looking for these angles. I don't see either of them being that guy. Neither of them is going to be the one that is going to like put the effort into working on this problem and actually resolving it. Like sitting down with the other person and like looking at their replays and be like, okay, like, we actually had to push here. Here's when you can base. I can base at the same time. We can go and invade his top side because his red buff is coming up. Or like we're playing for a Wraith respawn. Or we can go and ward together right now. Like which one of them is actually going to sit down together, watch their own games, and identify what is actually happening? And if they're not going to do it, which member of the coaching staff is actually going to solve this problem for them? Because the problem is it's not getting done. And if it's not done in 6 weeks, when is it actually going to be resolved?
Yes. I'll also say as well, in the same interview I referenced of Self-Made, he also had a comment which lines up exactly what you're talking about. He basically said that he sees himself as like more of a follower, and he's not the sort of guy who just tells people like, you know, I want to do this in the game now or do this or whatever. So I have to say, it does sound like essentially, it's like what we used to talk about last year on the Crackdown about that Immortals lineup, where it's like on paper, just fundamentally you've put the wrong sorts of players together. Like in this scenario, as far as I can tell, Labrov and Self-Made are the same fucking player. They just play only their role in a limited fashion, and they're really mechanically skilled. Like they can't just have two of those people. Like I need, like in that scenario, mate, I'd rather give up the mechanics and have one guy who's just like some fucking vocal figure. Yeah. I mean, the joke is, here's another one, mate. Like, mate, why wasn't fucking Perks on the phone getting Mickey X in his team? Mickey X can, I might not talk, but he at least engages. If anything, that's what he's fucking showing you. XL, he's just engaged bot, isn't he? Like, he at least do it, man. That would help. That would help them instantly, because they had another quote from this interview. It's the last one I'm going to give. And this, mate, makes my actual heart sink for Vitality. Because on the one hand, I sort of feel like, I know this might sound like people are thinking, oh, you're just a star fucker on this, but I genuinely think people like Alfari, Perks, are so skilled and have been so good for so long. I actually sort of believe it when they imply they're not that bothered about the split so far, and if I get to the playoffs, I believe they do think that. But here's what worries me. Self-Made said, he put, I think the reason why our games are looking like they do is because we play on stage the way we do in practice. Holy fuck, did you just say that part out loud? This is how you're playing in practice? Because, dude, I was thinking of this when I was watching these games. By all rights, like, in a sane world, they just lose that game to BDS, mate. They had no business 100%. Winning that game. And I was even thinking about this. This is crazy. Think about Fnatic and Vitality, this split, right? Obviously, different levels relative, like, to the standings, etc. If these bottom teams, obviously, SK has actually gotten the upsets, but if Astralis and BDS were just, I'm talking about just slightly better, Dom, these top, like, super teams would have way more losses. They would each have, like, 2 or 3 more losses this split. Like, some of these top teams are actually really lucky how bad and how, like, cynically GM'd those bottom teams are right now. If this was like if this was what they claimed franchising would be, like all the best talent in the region, mate, those super teams would be in trouble right now, I think.
If this was 2020 summer, these teams would be losing. That's the best way to put it. Like if it was like that XL team with K-Drill on it would beat a team that's this bad, right? Yeah. Like the problem with that team is that it couldn't ever actually beat the teams that were good, and there was so many good teams in that split. But if they were playing against a team this bad, K-Drill would not have the 7th place no playoff meme around his neck all the time. So, I mean, that's the biggest issue with them. And I'm when I'm thinking of players that are available, how about Advian? He seems like he was active. It seems like he wanted to play the game. I mean, obviously we can't hear anything. They would obviously have to try him out. You can't just like be like, oh, Dom said Advian would be good, and then like put him on the team. Like, I'm not fucking listening to everything. But based on what we hear from the limited information we have from the mic checks, he seems like he's the type of player that like wants to try to figure out what should we be doing now. And if it's wrong, he's going to try to actively try to correct it, because he's in that learning mentality. I feel like Labrov and Self-Made are almost like past that, where they like expect the other person to know, but like they don't really know, and neither of them is really really just confident in their ability to lead this. So it's just this problem that will never be resolved until something changes. So that's the one thing that I'm really hoping for with Vitality, because when you think of those two positions, those are the positions that are supposed to be leading the early game. And when you think about this version of Vitality, it's like they never have fucking leads
in the early game, aren't they? It's mad.
Yeah. I mean, even if they have like a lead in the early game, it just disappears like that. It's like, oh, Kari's has got 2 kills in Vayne. He's surely gonna kill. Oh, never mind, he's dead. Like that's pretty much like the whole fucking game. So this is the biggest issue. And the way that you solve this is you really simplify what you are playing for. Like, it's not rocket science, right? If you have the ability to take Dragon, you take Dragon. If at 8 minutes you have a stronger top laner and your bot has first push, you go and you take Rivera. Like, you just simplify that shit and you're in the right places at the right time. And then everything else will put themselves in order, because when you're actually getting to the position, the games become so easy. If you actually do the right things, the right setup, you have the wards in the right places, and you see somebody walking in, that's when Selfmade can pop off. That's when Lebrov can pop off. That's where their mechanical instinct can just be like, oh, this guy's fucking inting. He's walking on our ward. I know I can hit all my skill shots. This guy is dead. You know, like they'll be able to use their talents because the setup is there. And it's so frustrating for me because I know that like just a little bit of help for these guys, they could be so fucking good. Because those guys, like, who's going to beat them in a straight up 2v2 if they're on even footing?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Not many people, of course. No, which wouldn't have the skill to do it. One thing, let's spin it off, actually. Like I alluded to, we will actually, on this episode, by the way, boys, I'm going to remove the moratorium on talking about the shit teams. We're actually going to talk about all the bad teams, because, by the way, they've all got wins now. They've all even been relevant to some degree. Let's talk about the aforementioned BDS, who, by the way, absolutely, go watch the game. They could have won this game against Vitality. Right? The first thing that has to be said, it's from that game, and when I'm thinking of it as well, Dom, is this. Right? As much as everyone's rightfully given Synkrov tons of credit individually, like Loki genuinely looks at one of the best junglers in the whole LEC, despite the fact his team probably won't make playoffs. I think beyond Synkrov, these last few weeks, I know people are going to think there's obvious bias here because he's a friend of our shows and he's been on all our content. I actually think, dude, this team actually Loki is showing that Grabs has like fucking value as a coach. Like, their early game, that has to be from the coach. It can't just be the jungler only. Like, because if you look at people like Adam, mate, the second the mid game arrives, you know it's arrived because he has no fucking clue what's going on. Like, he's like some fucking kid playing Ocarina of Time for the first time. Like, oh, I'm up in this big open world. Wow, I'm off here. I'm off for an adventure. It's like, mate, where the fuck are you going? Like, where's your macro? So to me, like, I look at their team. Like, I even think some of the drafts he's done the last few weeks have looked pretty good, mate. Like, actually, as much as like, listen, you're never going to really get credit if you're on one of the worst teams, unfortunately, from fans, but I actually think there are some elements of BDS that I can at least praise some aspect of it, even if the team fundamentally is on a good roster, you know.
I mean, they should have won literally like their last 6 games or some shit. They have massive leads every game, and the thing that's probably so heartbreaking is that it's like a different problem every fucking game. So it's like they'll have a problem, they'll correct it. Okay, next week. Oh, what's that? Oh, I guess we fucking opened our next. Oh, never mind. We didn't know how to do split push. Oh, we over prioritized this objective. There's a new problem, and like at the end of the day, I just feel like his players don't see what's actually happening in the game, that they're just like trying to follow this roadmap and they don't have the vision to like be able to see what is happening in front of them and actually win the game. And that's the hardest thing, because as a coach, like, you can't coach every single aspect of the entire game. You have to rely on your players for something. They have to be good at playing the game. Like, you can make improvements, and it looks like they're making improvements, but every time I watch BDS, I say the same thing. I even tweet out the same thing. I'm like, oh, they have a huge lead. I wonder how they're going to fuck it up this time, because it's always different. And that's what makes me feel like it can't be coached, because at some point, like, teams that actually have players that know how to win are just going to go back to like playing the game. They'll know how to win in the game. Like, you can't coach every single circumstance that will ever arise in League. At some point, your players actually need to be able to read the situation for themselves and have enough inherent game knowledge that they can solve whatever small problem is going to be different in the game than whatever you encountered in practice, because there's too many champions in the game. There's too many different situations. You have Rise drafts, you have TF drafts, you have champions that function really uniquely on side lanes. You have champions that are killable, champions that are not killable. You have different situations at Dragon where you'll be like poking versus like trying to like play for a disengage, or you'll be trying to find an angle to all in. There's too much here. So maybe if they have a little bit more time, they could do something in summer, but I just feel like this team would be so much different if they had just one person on it that could like help Synkrov in the late game, because he kind of falls into the same trap that most junglers fall into, which are these early game junglers that don't make their money by straight mechanics. They make it by being smart. Generally are like slightly worse at team fighting. They don't have like the team fight vision to like get like the huge engages or find the multi-man angles that a lot of other players that will be more, you know, mechanically intensive, they will be able to find those types of engages. So he's not going to be somebody who's going to carry them in the late game. Like, so one of their carries is going to actually have to start stepping up and being able to do that. And it seems like no one has been able to do it up until this point. But the thing that's really tough about BDS is like, do you make roster changes now where it looks so close? Like, it looks like you're almost winning. You're really close to winning. True. You couldn't get any fucking closer to winning without winning, as they did versus like SK, for example. Like, they're literally losing to trying to go to Dragon and having their base ran at by 5 people. I mean, I don't know. What do you do?
Like I say, I even think, like, to me, like, because essentially we do the same thing in Counter-Strike. If you don't know, like, people were real experts in Counter-Strike. You don't judge the leader in Counter-Strike. You actually have, like, essentially one shot caller for most teams, the in-game leader. We don't judge the in-game leader as to whether you win or lose the game. Only a pleb does that, right? What you do is you watch the game, and essentially what you say is, like, what reasonably could he have done? So if in Counter-Strike, for example, your in-game leader calls the right strats that you get into the bomb site, like, you know, let's say like 75% of the time, and you get the bomb down, you get in position. At that point in time, everything beyond that's the players. Like, you can't control them. Like, if they misplay a fucking fight or they push at the wrong time, it's not his fault they lost the round. So to me, for the coach, what I have to ask is, like, does it look like you know how to draft for your players? Does it look like you know how to set up the early game so you at least like the basics before people are stronger than you? Like, these things actually BDS is nailing, mate. They're killing that. So that's why I say the tragic thing is, I know to like a pleb fan, they're not really going to give Grabs any. In fact, if anything, they're probably going to see, he was shit. He needed perks and them. Like, I actually think this team shows that if he, like as you say, if he just had even like either one player was like a split smarter or like one better shot caller, I think this team would put it this way, they'd be in contention to make playoffs. If you look at the mess that we're in right now in the LEC.
I mean, if this team had Vetheo on it, it would literally just be Misfits. Like, it would literally just be like that caliber of team, like just doing really well in the standings.
There is one other thing there's one other conclusion I've come to, Dom, and I'm going to phrase this specially, and if people are too stupid to get it, then they don't get it, okay? Which is, after watching X-Matty play for the whole split, Targamas really is fucking good, isn't he? Anyway,
he really is.
So I hope people get the joke there, but anyway, you get the joke.
So here's something I want to throw in on BDS as well.
Go on.
One of the issues that I have is I feel like because things went so poorly when Synchro was playing well in all those games, he's starting to do what some junglers do, where they're like, oh, I have to just go beyond my actual limitations in order to win games. Okay. So, like, when you see the Gwen, no, but, I mean, it happens, right? Like, I've been there. I've been there as a pro player, where if you lose so many games in a row doing what you know is good, you're like, yeah, I mean, it's just not going to work with this team. Like, if I'm playing a champion like Jarvan that is like, I mean, it gives some early pressure, does some early dives, whatever, but like, it's actually kind of shit in the late game and I can't carry the fucking game alone, I'm going to have to do something else. So now I feel like when I saw the Gwen jungle come out and those types of picks, I'm like, this isn't enabling Synchro to actually be Synchro, because that champion just essentially has to farm and then carry team fights, which, if you go off my description of him earlier, is the actual opposite of what
that's, I think, like a self-made champion.
Yeah, exactly. That's a self-made champion. Yes. So now to win, he's trying to be self-made, but actually the rest of the team is improving. So I don't want Synchro to start going off on this, like, I need to fucking carry the game. Like, all right, it's time. The Synchro of Kiana is coming out. And then he's just going to like vomit on himself in a team fight and completely lose the game for his team. Like, I want him to just keep on doing what he's doing and have like a little bit of faith that everything else is going to work out eventually, because they are close in other aspects and they have made improvements in other aspects.
Yes.
For example, if they played that Mad Lions game last week, where they just engaged like 8 team fights in a row that were fucking terrible and lost the game. It wasn't actually 8, but, you know, I'm obviously exaggerating for the point of, entertainment and shit. So if they played that game right now, I think they'd win that game. I don't think they would throw the same way 8 times in a row in that circumstance. And if Synchro plays that good of a game, I think he'll win. It just, right now, I feel like, it mentally breaks you as a jungler, losing all these games where you're doing intelligent pathing. Oh. It really fucks with you, because you just feel so useless at a point. You're like, damn, well, I guess I'll just play Jarvan another game and just watch as we get absolutely fucking railed once the mid game hits. I just want him to keep on doing what he's doing. He's so close. Close, and his teammates are getting better. If he wasn't on Gwen in that SK game, I think they'd probably win. They're actually that close. So I just don't want too much to change, because it's hard to improve when other things are changing. You know, like, you have to have the building blocks, and I feel like Synchro is that foundation for the team. They have one of the best early game junglers who understands the map early game. He can get them fucking leads. Now you need to make sure you're consistently still getting those leads so you can solve the problems that show that you've solved the problems that you actually have earlier in the split.
Yeah. He's also another player, by the way, just like Vetheo, where, like, spoiler, these guys will not be on their current orgs if they keep playing the way they are playing. Like, these will be like the most contested people in the fucking offseason. It's just obvious. Right, let's talk about, actually, you referenced them there, let's talk about Mad Lions a bit, because of all the teams, if people went back, or if anyone just watched the previous, 4 episodes of this show, the team that's had the worst drop-off would definitely be Mad Lions. If you remember in the first weeks, actually, I think we praised them and said that if anything, they were like overperforming. Even the rookies looked better than people expected, because obviously people expected the team to be destroyed completely without those 2 players. And then I'd say more importantly, early on, to me, they were one of the rare teams that actually looked like they had an identity, like they had sort of figured out how they wanted to play. Mate, almost everything I've just said there, I have to fucking undo now. Like, guess what? Both the rookies, keyword both the rookies aren't doing awesome, mate. Like, Rika actually has been, like, let's be real. Here's the problem. I want to make a distinction here. It's different, right? To when someone's bad and you say it, like when I was saying about the bot lane of Vitality, it's one of the worst bot lanes. I'm saying that to emphasize how bad they are. If I say Rika hasn't been good, what I mean is just like someone has to be the 10th place mid or the 9th place mid. He hasn't been terrible, certainly. Like, you watch him, it's not like he does like fucking ints the game or whatever. But if I watch him play Dom, it's like this isn't a championship fucking mid laner, mate. Like, this player can't be the one that I'm having replace Humanoid. Like, if he was on like SK Gaming, I'd be like, it's all right. But like for Mad Lions, I don't think he's good. I know it's only 1 split, so obviously there's the Vetheo phenomenon of like, let's see in the summer, maybe he levels up. But right now, at least, he ain't doing it for me, mate. Like, most games, he's just not even a threat to carry the game.
Yeah, I don't know, because like, I definitely agree that he's probably, like, if you were to rank the players on the team, he'd probably be one of the worst players on the team. He's like 4th or 5th.
I don't think he's actually shit as a player, though. That's what's weird. Like I don't think he's a total liability. I just don't think he's good, if that makes sense. I'm trying to make like a clean distinction, you know.
But should he? But it's like he shouldn't even be good yet. So for me, like like a rookie coming in and looking like a rookie is not my biggest issue. My biggest issue is like actually Elyoya and Kaiser making so many mistakes, like with what they were really good at last split. Like, they were really good, and it can't just be Humanoid micromanaging every little movement that they made the entire game.
You know, Pete, that's the problem with that topic, Dom. You know, when I brought that up, I brought it up initially about Fnatic and Humanoid, obviously, of like, and Kaiser, like, you know, who did what? This is where fans are never going to help themselves. It's not that one of them was the super shot caller. Like, if I had to guess, Dom, based on all the stories, and they're now in 3 different teams, I would guess that they probably had a setup where originally it was Humanoid and then Kaiser a bit, and then they've even said themselves that they brought in Elyoya to help with like shot. Like, it sounds like it was all 3 of them, and then maybe even Kazi did something like. It sounds like it was like a hive mind effort, you know. It wasn't one guy, was it? So everyone's trying to do this thing now of like, well, is it Kaiser only, or is it only Humanoid? It's clearly like they clearly interfaced in some way and brought something to the game.
And they all 3 of them look worse now that they're apart than they did.
Absolutely, which I think plays into it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, that's one of the issues with the team. So for me, I'm actually more disappointed in Elyoya and Kaiser, even though they're still technically probably the 2 best players on the team, because I feel like when you have rookies and stuff, you just don't have the luxury of playing poorly. Like, think about when Elyoya was integrating last spring. Like, Elyoya did not have only good games last spring. He didn't start being like super consistent until either playoffs of spring or like after MSI in summer. That's when like Elyoya started going into like that, like, oh, he's just not making mistakes anymore.
He also looked like he had playoff buffs, like you're saying as well. Like, he used to get better in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, I think Elyoya is really good, and like this, like the thing is this, right? It might be unfair, but the standard that I'm holding Elyoya and Kaiser to is like they're expected from my end. I expect them to be like at minimum top 3 in the league. If they're not a top 3 jungler and top 3 support in the league, I think they're underperforming because that's the standards they set for themselves. Yes. Same way that like if Tom Brady is the 5th best quarterback in the NFL, you don't say, oh, he's actually still really good. It's like, like that's a bad fucking season for him. Like he is not performing at the level you expect. So for me, I just want to see them stop making all these support and jungle mistakes because Rieger has had some games that are good that go under the radar. Like, I thought the Victor game versus BDS, his team ran it the fuck down. Kaiser and Elyoya deserved to lose that game. And if you watch that game closely, you'll see some really fucking good movement out of Rieger. You'll see some really good team fights where it's like, oh shit, like he was in the middle of all of them, dodged everything and won that fight. Like, that was a moment where I'm like, you can tell that there's talent there. So I would not want to give up on him, but the question is, do they actually need someone else who's going to have some of those qualities that Humanoid had to make everything flow better for the team as a whole? And obviously the person that you're looking at here would be Niski, right? Like, he's the guy that's out of a team. He's the guy that has the buyout that Mad Lions could potentially pay. And he's somebody who will jump in and he'll be one of the best mids in LEC in my mind almost instantly. Like, This guy's still playing solo queue. He's like ranked 2 right now. You know that he knows how to play in a team environment. The meta is right up his fucking alley. Like, Ryze is the best champion of the game. TF is still fucking playable. Like, Galio is even playable. Like, it's literally, I mean, he could play everything, but when it comes to his preferred meta, I feel like this is what he's always made his money on in professional play. So that's the decision of Mad Lions. Like, can they actually get Elyoya and Kaiser to play to that level, and can they let Rieger develop, or is this going to be like a catastrophe if they don't have like a top tier mid laner?
I'm definitely with you in the sense that, like, at the end of last year, especially after the playoffs of summer, people would have said that, like, these are maybe the 2 best players at their position. I mean, a bit more debatable for Elyoya because there was loads of junglers at the time that were all the MVP candidate. Yeah, exactly. So Razork and there was, but I will say this, like, I can forgive Razork not looking as good. He went to a completely different team. And not only that, he went to a team with loads of like former shot callers and big names. And like, that's one thing. Like, you can go to a team in that scenario. It's like, you know, you have to like, there's even a psychological thing of like, well, am I at the bottom of the totem pole? Like, do I ask for things? In this scenario, when rookies walk in the door to replace your best players, if you're Elyoya and you're one of the best junglers, guess what? Congrats, you just got a promotion. You're now one of the leaders. It's your time. In fact, how you see the game, brilliant. That's how we want to play. You tell us what to do. You tell us what ganks you want to pull off. You tell us what pick you want here. Like, in that scenario, because I have to say, of the 2 of them, like, Kaiser certainly hasn't pulled off all those genius fucking roams he used to last year. But then again, like, he is working with different teammates. So some of those, it's like, I think some of those you're always going to be gambling when you do those moves. The problem is Elyoya in general. Mate, he still picks all the champions you would think he'd have these pop-off games on. He still picks the fucking, the Diana and all that, the Lee Sin and everything. It's just, some of these games are just underwhelming. Like, he's just not finding fucking angles or something.
Yeah, definitely. And it just feels like he's unsure of when to pull the trigger, whereas before that was his best thing. I mean, the most criminal game for them to lose is this Misfits game. Like, how do you... They literally entered 3 kills into you bot lane at like 4 minutes. How are we not winning this game, boys? Like, this is a game that is so fucking free. It doesn't get more free than this. I mean, honestly... that's one of those games that just made me think even higher of Vetheo, because this guy just never has a bad game. Like, how many bad games has this guy had throughout the split?
I don't think he's had one. Maybe one.
There was like one Silas game that I remember like not being like a good game from him, but has he had any bad games? Like, this guy is super fucking reliable, which is always something that you're looking at from like a star mid laner is, are they having moments of brilliance or are they just like consistently excellent? And I feel like Vetheo is consistently excellent this split. I think he's been the best mid laner over the course of the split.
Oh, we'll get to that, but I'll just say this quickly. One, on the game you just referenced, the Mad Lions versus Misfits game. One, that fucking arm at Wukong wasn't looking so hot in that one. I'll tell you that right now. Yep. Mark that one in the column of like, that's why in theory you want him to pick Wukong. And then 2, there's actually one thing I will say that's a positive for the Misfits at least. At least here it's actually starting to get its shit together again. Let me think. Wasn't there what I'm trying to think, was there one more thing I wanted to say about Mad Lions? Let me think. Oh, I had one last thing to say. I'm not normally someone who goes mad on draft, Dom, unless it's like a meta where you have to draft certain things. But I will say this, mate, the Mad Lions draft that they did against Rogue in this game they played, please look this up, because I'm not enough of an expert to tear this apart, but I want to get your thoughts on it. Like, what do you think of this draft they let Rogue have here? Because, like, as a layman... How are you supposed to win this game, mate? Give me some thoughts here. Come on, give me some thoughts.
Let me look it up. What is it? Picks and bans. What is it? Week 6, day 1?
Yes.
Mad versus
Rogue.
Rogue? Okay, let's see.
Tell me what you think of this draft. You think it's fine?
I'm checking it right now.
Like, I feel like if I was going to say to someone, like, which of these comps do we want to end up with? The one that Rogue's got, or the one that we're taking as Mad Lions? Remember, Mad Lions is very much another team praised around the coach. You know, it's all about how the coach is a genius and figures out the right players, figures out what to do. I don't know what he's envisioning in this game, dude. Like, you're playing the best team in the league. Like, isn't this just like a draft loss? Am I off base on this one? What do you think?
I think this is actually fine. I think Ryze is one of the most OP champions of the game, but they just didn't play like they had a Ryze like early game. And then like they have a bunch of conditions that I feel like should in theory be really OP, because it's not just like how the comp interacts with the other comp. You also go into like there's a bunch of things that you're balancing, right? So Hecarim, for example, has really weak level 1. So they have the ability to level 1 invade the Hecarim. Nice. They level 1 invaded the Hecarim. Marong can't even vertical jungle. Like, he's completely fucked. And then they just give a free kill bot and the whole game becomes like super hard. I actually feel like this should be a playable draft. I think this should be a fine draft. I mean, if not, like, maybe I would actually prefer this draft. I mean, the thing is, it's like, it's not good stylistically when you think of like, oh, you gave Larson Orianna in a game where like Larson's, or like Orianna is one of the picks that you pick into Rise.
Yes.
That's an issue. When I look at everything else, like, yeah, you should be able to win this one. This is completely winnable. I mean, you have like enough CC too, which I think is really important when you're playing on a team that's like having issues. Give yourself easier ways to start things off. I don't know if I would call this like a pure draft win, but I definitely wouldn't call this like lost in draft or anything. I feel like you could win this game easily, and they just don't. Like, they're just dying to things they shouldn't die to. And
the one topic I wanted to spin out of this, which is actually related to coaches, is this. So we've talked previously, right? Even though it's from a different angle, essentially Mad Lions coach Mac, and I know Peter Dunn's in the same boat, they actually also essentially think you should sort of, like, they wouldn't say sandbag or tank the split, but essentially they're in the same boat as the Perkses of the world. But not because, like, the difference is Perks, etc., have just won that many splits and they've always been in the playoffs, so they know you can always just get to playoffs and turn it around. These guys, they all went from that angle, if you remember, of like mental health and like they didn't want to burn the players out or like, you know, put too many demands on them. Or the other one as well was they didn't want people to feel like emotionally burdened if they're a rookie or something. Right, here's the problem I have with that, Dom. It's basically the opposite version of the whole Wonder thing. You know, but everyone used to think it was hilarious when Wonder was like playing World of Warcraft. Everyone knows the meme that's got way out of control. The idea that, like, you know, oh god, the game ended with 3-0 them, so I have to go and do raid now. I always said that's going to seem really cool until you just don't win anymore, and then it's going to seem really stupid. It's the same thing with this Mac thing now, right? Bear in mind, as of this moment, they are not actually a playoff team, despite the fact Vitality started the league 0-3. If they don't make the playoffs, that idea of like, well, we just experiment on things in the split and we just, you know, fuck around it, like, that's going to look really stupid. Bear in mind, you're bringing in rookies every year. Like, I'm just saying that storyline's right there, sort of dangling bit. And if they don't make that playoffs, it's going to get a bit rough.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's like in the same thing as what Grab said last year with G2, right? Where he was like, well, you know, like, I always tell my players, like, don't worry about winning spring or winning summer. None of that actually matters. What matters is how you perform at MSI and Worlds. It's like, fuck, we actually have to do well in spring or summer to actually get to
exactly. Yeah.
It's really fucked up. But I mean, I'm looking at this game, right? And this is just it's just more into what we were saying earlier. How does Mad Lions lose control of this game? They go for a Rift Herald fight that they shouldn't be going for. Elyoya just gets one shot. Kaiser just dies too. Armut's nowhere close to the fight. It's actually the 3 members that are remaining for Mad Lions that should be the ones that are able to lead the situation and tell people like, hey, we can get here, or make the call that like, this is their Rift Herald. We're going to do something on the other side of the map. We just leave our AD carry bottom, something like that. They should be the ones that are making that call, and that's how they end up like throwing this lead. And then, yeah, now you're suddenly behind versus a team that outscales you in team fights. I don't know. Then you just fucking lose. So my biggest issue is this type of shit. Like, how is this happening? How is this Rift Herald happening that you're losing the game at? Who's going to be making those calls? Like, I'm telling you, there's no mid laner or AD carry for the most part that's going to be calling Rift Herald rotations. It's going to be like your support being like, oh, we can base here. Like, we're going to move to Rift. Like, or the jungle be like, oh, okay, will you come here and Rift here? It's the people that are going to be active on the map that will make these decisions in game. They just make an awful decision. They just lose the whole fucking game off it. I mean, not literally, but they put themselves 1k behind when they had a lead. And now there's the Hecarim, which is something that is obviously pretty weak in the first couple clears, who was really behind off his pathing because Malrong loves to sin all over the place. He loves to just run and go for ganks that are, I mean, they're risky to say the least. They have really high cost to them. And yeah, then everything just becomes, it goes to shit. So I don't know. My biggest issue is things like this. I still feel the same even after like rewatching this game a little bit and just tabbing through, refreshing my memory, what actually went on in it. I just don't know how they're messing these things up so frequently when they have the same people doing it. And it's not because I think the other teams are getting that much better. It's like, I feel like this is a situation they were in multiple times last year where the enemy has first move on the Herald and they have to think about real quick, how are we going to do it? What are we going to do? Are we giving this Herald? What is the plan around this? Like, we know the situation. All the cards are on the table. Make your decision.
Right. What about this then? Since you already referenced the Vetheo topic, let's talk a bit about Misfits. So we'll start on that player right there. Right. Here's the key thing to me, because what people don't get is this. I generally hate hype, as in the idea that you like falsely overrate something or like make it seem bigger than it is, especially because usually it's just for like marketing reasons like clickbait or just fucking, sell you something and then once you've bought it, it's too late, to get the money back. So as a result, right, I don't think people get it. People always think I either like love the player and I'm just like a super fan of him or I hate them. It's not. It's that I hate overrating. But as a result, if there ever is a player who really does deserve the praise, I actually do think that as a distinction to show that they're different, you should really heavily praise them if they're worth it. And this is the difference. There's very few players in history you'll notice on these shows I put in that category out of rookies, because to me Vetheo's still a rookie. But he hasn't even played 3 splits. Like, to me, he's effectively still a rookie at the top tier, right? Mate, this guy's eye test from the second split, last split onwards, and in this split now, the eye test is fucking mega. We're talking like it's like a 9.5 out of 10, mate. Like, as you said earlier, not only does he almost never have a bad game, spin it the other way, he basically carries every game. And here's the difference, dude. In past years, right, when Humanoid came in Splice, for example, it's like, every 2 games, you'd be like, oh, there's something there. Like, he's pretty skilled, but like, yeah, I don't know, he starts to adapt to the game, work with these veterans. When Larson came in the league, you were like, well, he's a really good mage player, but to be fair, his team just plays scaling comps, they play very safe. Like, there was all these like other factors you could give. Dude, the thing about the Vetheo one that's a killer to me is last split, at least some of the other players were really good. Like Razork was amazing, Hirit was pretty good. This split, beyond like a few games where Hirit's got it together now, his team isn't even that good, dude. They have no business being where they are in the league right now. It's just this guy. Like, for real, I would probably give this guy the MVP unless something drastic happens at this point in time. He just looks like the best player in the LEC.
Yeah, I think he's definitely MVP candidate for sure. I think the other player that I would give some praise to is Neon. I think Neon's been playing like at a pretty consistently high level, and if you especially consider the fact that his support has had a very bad split, like obviously it's not a very bad split for rookie, right? Like, we're making the distinction of if we're gonna rate him against other players, like, I mean, like I said earlier, Promise
it's
Team
like you said, at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, like, Advian isn't in the league, is he better than Advian? Or if Mickey X wasn't in the league, is he better than Mickey X? You have to ask that question, basically.
Yeah, and I would say no. I would say that Vander, for example, last split performed at a higher level than Mercer this split, but I don't think that means they need to replace him. Like, if things are working and he shows promise and you like his mentality and you think he's improving, that's for them to decide. I just think that when you look at this team and you were to say, like, okay, your jungler is playing worse than Razork did last split. I think their jungler's fine. I'm not saying that their jungler is bad. I would just think that Razork had like an insane split last split.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, one of the best. So your jungler's playing worse. Hirit, I think, is playing worse this split than he played last split, and your support is playing worse than last split. It's like, and then you have Neon and Vetheo, and they're just carrying every fucking game. Like, that's really fucking impressive. I mean, Misfits is a team that when we set out everything at the beginning, we set out expectations for this team as people that watch the game. There's somebody that they should be fighting for 6th. They should be the team. They should be Vitality right now.
For me, best case, 5th place was what I would have said before the split. Best case.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like, my top 5 was almost solidified in my mind. It was like, if you go back to the first episode, it was Rogue, in no particular order. It was Rogue, Fnatic, G2, Vitality, Mad Lions. I thought those 5 teams would be clear 5. And then the way I broke it down was then there would be a 6 and 7, which was Misfits versus XL. And then there was a bottom 3. There was an SK, BDS, Astralis. They're going to be at the bottom. That was the way I set up the split. Dude, Misfits is tied for fucking 2nd. And they're on a 5-game winning streak.
Yep.
Like, they look actually good. And when you look at the games they have remaining, like, I mean, they have some hard ones for sure. They have some hard ones for sure. But on the last week, they have, I believe, they have SK and Astralis on the last week. So they're set up to like have 11 wins. 11 wins is normally like 2nd or 3rd. So they're in really fucking good position. Like, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with what I've seen. And I also have to like definitely say that I feel like this team was rebuilt really fucking efficiently. When you think about how much of a disaster this team was previously into what it is now, this is like, to me, a pretty good jamming job. Like, I would look at this and be like, yeah, they did work. They found the right players. They built around them. Like, this looks successful.
No, as far as I know, I'm assuming obviously Deficio's the guy who still builds the team. As far as I can tell, me, he's just done a great job all the teams he's been in. Like, and if people don't know, even the Origin example essentially was like he managed to get people to sign who shouldn't even have been on the team. They were overqualified. They could have got way more money elsewhere. So if you look, that was when he had like big names. These are some no-namers or just ERL players. And look what a great job he's done re-upping, like you say. With that said, though, here's the only downside: is they're going to make playoffs almost certainly, as you're saying, with a very good seed, right? They're probably going to be like top 3. They might even be in top 2 and get like the one of the spots where you can avoid being the one that Rogue plays. So in that world, right, there's a world where, yeah, they can finish pretty deep in the playoffs. I have to say, though, of all the teams that are going to the playoffs, I feel like in the playoffs it's going to be way harder in best of 5 series for this team particularly. Like, the problem is, mate, this isn't season 2 or season 3. Like, Vetheo can't really 1v9 a whole best of 5. Like, he can win you a couple of games for sure, but like, to win a whole series is fucking hard in 2022.
Oh yeah, it's really fucking hard. Hey, I'm not gonna put it past him though. I'm in the
I'm looking forward to it. I want to see it for sure. Yeah.
Oh, I want to see it. I mean, he's one of those people that like he's playing well enough now that I'm just excited to watch every Misfits game.
Agreed.
Like every single. And the thing is, like you look at his champion pools, he's bouncing back and forth multiple different styles. He's diving things on Rise. He's playing his Zoe, which was his original. That was his one trick before. I was like, this guy when he's on Zoe is really good. When he's on everything else, he kind of sucks. This guy fucking plays everything now, right? Like he can carry the game on Corki. Even if the whole game's going to shit, it seems like he's solid enough of a rock that they can win games off it. And you know how those games work, man. Like when your bot lane does something as egregious as they did in this dive where they're 3-0 to start, and your top lane gets solo killed as well. Armut actually solo killed Hirit in this lane as well. Bro, that's one of those games where it's like if your mid laner makes one mistake, you fucking lose. The whole thing just comes undone the second that he makes one mistake, and he just didn't do it, and then they just win the game. Like it's fucking impressive. And yes, Mad Lion should never lose that. Don't take it the wrong way and be like, oh well, like are you saying that Misfits played perfectly? No, I just think that like he played pretty perfectly in that circumstance, and he capitalized on the fact that Mad Lions doesn't have it all together right now. But I mean, you're gonna have a lot of winnable games, and it's the same in every region. Like I literally watch so much LPL, and LPL is a mess right now too. And I think that when regions are a mess, you get to see more of like the individual players really shine. So you get to see players like Rookie really pop off because of everything being so inconsistent.
Yes. I mean, I will also say that's another factor as to why I think Vetheo can win these games, is most of the top teams at the moment. What's weird is at the moment, the split in LEC goes like this, Tom. There's teams who like have an identity. So like G2 actually look like they have a very coherent identity. It's just I don't think the players are actually the best. Then you have like the teams that are mega on paper, Vitality and Fnatic, but then they're so confusing in terms of how disconnected the players are. Like, I think what you're saying makes sense, because if people haven't watched the LPL, because they had one of the craziest like roster mania off seasons ever, where like almost everyone went to different teams and mixed up. Obviously, you get teams just aren't super strong from day one. Basically, only EDG kept the real lineup they had. So as a result, as you say, if you're some superstar like mid laner or top laner, game on. Yeah, if you're playing a bunch of like teams that aren't fully formed, you can just fucking shit stomp them if you get the right pick. Right? Here's the problem I have though at the moment is this is the one topic no one's going to want to hear, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. Right, Dom, not only did we just do an off-season where despite the fact Rogue and Mad Lions were the best teams in the LEC, they both sold their best players. It's worse than that, mate, because Vetheo's contract ends at the end of this year. He doesn't even have to be sold. He can just for free walk to any team in the world who offers him the right contract. And spoiler, unless he's for some reason bizarrely like in love with Misfits org, it's surely not going to be the Misfits org he signs with. Like, dude, this should be one of the most eligible, like, fucking free agent, like, up-and-coming players we've ever had. Like, this should be everyone in the West almost offers this fucking guy.
This is where G2 or Rogue pulls their strategy, and they just, like, right now, they're trying to get him to fucking sign, like, an extension. Exactly. They're like, they'll give him a number, like, whatever his fucking, like, he was on a rookie contract, right? So, like, let's say he's making, like, 250 or 300. Maybe he has a really fucking good contract, and it's more than that. They're just like, hey, if you sign right now until 2024, we're giving you $500K a year. Like, period. Like, each year. It's $1 million contract.
Yep.
And that's where players normally, like, they're like, I mean, look, things are going really well right now. You throw $1 million in front of, like, an 18-year-old, 19-year-old or something like that, it's really hard for them to say no. So I'm just expecting it. Look, this is what, when you see in, like, 3 months, like, right before playoffs, that's how they do it. They do it right before spring playoffs. When things are all good. When you see, like, just want to announce Vetheo has re-signed until 2024. Don't think that means he's going to be on Misfits until 2024.
Just means they're going to get the fucking bag when they sell him. Yeah,
exactly. But that's how you GM a team. Like, I feel like this is actually really, really good GMing from Deficio, because they have something now worthwhile. They had nothing worthwhile. What did they have before? They had absolutely nothing. And now he's created value out of nowhere, which is going to keep them as a strong team, because if you get paid from somebody else, then you can buy another player that can be efficient for your team. So, like, I really like how things are going here. You know, just a shout out to Deficio real quick, because I see the work that he's doing.
And also, what I'm also alluding to is beyond, like, I don't, like, as you say, even if he signs with Misfits, it's just so that then they can be the ones who capitalize on selling him. Like, spoiler, this guy will be on one of the best teams in the West, either LCS or LEC next year. So the good news is he'll have a good team next year. So don't worry, guys. It's only this year he's in fucking nightmare mode simulator. Well, right, what about this? Let me think.
The thing is, it has, look, this is the thing.
Yeah, go on.
It's only been like the best player on his team significantly for like half a split, like whatever, 6 weeks now. So it's not like he's in the stance where he's really like itching to leave. You know? Like he's probably just enjoying the success, like enjoying the ride, you know? And this is the perfect time. I'm telling you, like, if Vetheo watches this shit, this is the time you get him to fucking sign that contract. If you're a GM, like, you get him right now before he like really like believes, no, I am really just the next fucking great mid laner of Europe. You know, you get him early in the success chain.
Right, let's do something where we'll do a callback. So obviously on the episode, I think off the top of my head, it was episode 3. I think it was episode 3, was the one where we talked about the AdVN being replaced by Mickey X move from XL. Now, here's the thing I will state. One thing that people will always do, Dom, is you're never allowed to criticize any aspect, otherwise you just hate the play, you think he sucks, nothing can work, you know, like every fan does that. Now, spoiler, I know why they do it. It's because they read a million opinions on the internet and they can't remember Billy Bob 7897 on Reddit. So they just assign that opinion to us if we had an opinion vaguely in the ballpark, right? But from what I remember, the main reasons we were against the Mickey X over AdVN move was, one, they obviously sort of sold AdVN a false bill of goods, like, well, we're keeping you because we're going to build on stuff. Oh, spoiler, you just kicked on like week 3 or whatever. 2, Mickey X, they implied, it was almost like the crown shot to Vitality one, like, we need the veteran leadership. It's like, you've signed a guy who doesn't talk. It's okay. You've done that one already on the Mickey X. And then thirdly, it's like, at that point in time, like, Mickey X hadn't had that great a year in G2. It wasn't like he was the Mickey X 3 years ago that you'd sign in a heartbeat, you know? So, like, where are you at on that now? Because most people are probably going to say, I would personally probably be in the camp as well, I think the move has worked out. Like, it was the right move, like, ultimately, and they have got wins from it. So where are you at on it? Like, how much has this surprised you, or has it been above expectations, how he's performed?
I think Mickey X has played better than expectations, for sure. I mean, I still don't think what we said was that wrong, though, because I remember the whole topic that we had was like, I mean, the stance that we agreed upon was that Mickey X will be better than AdVN right now, which is it. Yeah, it's true. He is better than AdVN right now, but like all the other stuff is just, I still think is bullshit. Like, I don't think that they're winning games because they now have some giga brain fucking like Chad that's just leading everyone to the fucking promised land. I just feel like now they just have like better players. So they're just like they're just like overpowering teams. But I mean, I do think Mickey X has been playing well. I just think that the way that they described him was so off from everything I've heard about Mickey X. And then I've also spoken to Mickey X and we've had him on the Crackdown. We had every member of G2 on the Crackdown. You could tell which ones were quiet and which ones weren't. You could tell, like, G2 fucking 2019, you're telling me that Perks and Yankos were not the ones that were the fucking loudest, and like, you know, fucking Caps and Mickey weren't the quiet ones, just based off their personalities, based on how they were. It's just what it was. It just was what it was. So, I mean, to me, I just feel the same way about it. I didn't think that they would do this good, for sure. Like, I would have definitely underestimated their results. But most of me underestimating their results was because I thought that other teams would be better. Like, I thought that XL would be decent. I thought they would be fighting for a playoff spot with Misfits. I just didn't think Mad Lions would fall off a cliff, and that Vitality, based on how many games they won in a row, because they're winning pretty much like all their games after that first week, besides for the loss to Rogue. I didn't think that they would go back to bad habits or like start trending the other direction so suddenly.
To me, I also, if you remember, I said like that they might sneak into the playoffs, but that was also before I knew Mad Lions would be shit. So if you remember, when we were figuring it out, I was like, actually, since Vitality at the time weren't in the playoffs, I was like, I guess technically they shouldn't actually. They should still be the team below. But I do think actually this did add like 10% to the team. Like, first of all, Mickey X already looks super at home. You've seen in most of the games, he's had like fucking highlight-worthy fucking engages. Also, you look at the champions you can pick and support right now. There's everything he wants to pick. It's just available. So it's made drafting easy as fuck. So I think if anything, it might even look better than it should, mate. I'd like to see what happened if we go to a different meta. Then I'll throw in as well, this is also where in XL, this is actually, I think, an example of a split where you see the value that Nukedoc brings. Like, look, Nukedoc himself clearly is in a headspace where he's never going to be like the best fucking mid laner in LEC. He's not going to like 1v9 the games. But not only does he seem like super comfortable, like he knows his game, but mate, look at how much variety he's now bringing to their mid lane. Like, his champion pool's fucking bonkers, mate. Like, they're doing all sorts of interesting things in the draft now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like the Mickey X point, if we're gonna hone in on this, I think it's worked better than expectations. And what I would compare it to is it just reminds me a lot of like the old Misfits Mickey X, like the like really talented support where everyone's like, oh, that guy's pretty fucking good, but he just doesn't have the pressure on him that he had before. So yeah, I'm liking it for the most part. I think XL is, I mean, it'd be really hard for them to not make make the playoffs at this point, right? Like I'm trying to look at their schedule right now and see who they have left. I believe they have. Don't they have 2-0? Wait, no. I think it's that SK have 2-0 over Mad Lions. So SK is technically in 7th and Mad Lions is in 8th. That's right. Fucking crazy. So I mean, XL's remaining schedule, they have a pretty hard week. I mean, if you consider Mad Lions bottom tier, I guess it's just an okay week, but they play against Rogue. Still left on their schedule, they have G2, Rogue, Mad Lions, SK, and Fnatic. So they have some pretty tough games ahead of them. The only layup should be SK, but I mean, at this point, like XL, you have to put them over a team like Mad, right? Like they should just beat a team like Mad based off what we're seeing.
They are also a game up on Vitality and 2 up on Mad Lions and SK though, so they obviously have a little bit more of like a breathing room. Thing is, it looks to me right now, and also they look like a pretty good team to be fair. I would guess they're going to make playoffs at this point in time. Like, they're going to steal a couple of wins still. They're going to get that. Now, there's the thing I am interested in though. I'm not going to be as harsh as I was on Misfits, but I also think logically on paper, XL doesn't look like a team that should win series. But then again, I've never fucking seen this team come anywhere close to playing a series. I actually want to see Young Buck coach a fucking series without all the best players in the league. I'm just interested to see what will happen, Dom, because I have noticed in the past, I've always thought that was one area he was actually slightly underrated. I know most people would never think of Youngbuck as like a drafting coach or whatever, but I actually thought in some playoff series back in the day, sometimes he did do a pretty good job. Sometimes he came with sort of like a good game plan or like how to trick and get a free pick out of someone, you know, like I always thought he was pretty good at that sort of stuff. It's just obviously in XL, he's never been in the bloody playoffs. It's been years now.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they play. I mean, if they make playoffs, I assume that they're probably just going to be like first round, one and done. You know, that's going to be how it is. But I think that's a success for like XL. Like, I mean, I think that they just keep the same roster after that going forward and just play out the year and just hope that they can keep on improving. That's the first team
I do think there's a base to the team though. Like I agree with you. I wouldn't reset this team and just go start again next year. Like it's essentially if you make like maybe one, like if you got a different top laner, in my opinion, this team could do something actually. I think they could actually do something. I'm not hating when I say that. I've just never thought Finn was that good, mate. I always thought he was a bit overrated, you know.
Yeah, so I mean, I thought he was really bad in season 10, and then last year I was like, actually, this guy is really good.
There's nothing he could do on his team in LCS, to be fair. Like he could never have done anything there.
Yeah. And now I don't know. He's just like consistently disappoints me. That's how I am with Finn. Like I want him to be good. I think he's good. Like he's just one of those players that like Lebrov that you think is going to be good at some point. You're like, I mean, he just hit rank 1 playing in solo queue playing Aurelia. He's gonna fucking smash Adam, and then you see him get solo killed twice by Adam in like 2 minutes. But like the game still is a win for XL, so it doesn't really stick in your memory that much. But it's just he's just always a little bit worse than I expect him to be, which is kind of sad. That's
okay. As I alluded to earlier, we will talk even about the dreaded bad teams because, as you also pointed out, you can't actually even call SK a bad team now. First of all, even at the beginning of the split, they were like tripping over and winning games that on paper they weren't supposed to. And then actually, you look through the whole split, that has been their MO, dude. It's how they've ended up with 5 wins now. And there's even other games, I have to say. There's other games they could have won in this split. Like they could be on 6 or 7 wins right now. Like I don't know how, because I still look at the paper team and like on paper, this is one of the most uninteresting teams maybe ever to play in the LEC. Like basically, I like treats. I don't give a fuck about almost anyone else in the team. But in the actual server, this team is more than the fucking sum of their parts. Man, how are they winning these games, dude? Because I don't really know myself. I watch the games. I'm like, I guess they win another one. How?
It's just the Gilius effect, man. This guy's too positive. Like, it's hard to believe that you're shit when you have Gilius on your team. He's just too fucking hype. Actually, I think that's low-key doing a lot for them. Just having somebody like that. If you look at Gilius teams, they kind of have a similar like trend where they're pretty fucking bad at the beginning of splits, and then they get things together, they start like having morale. And I think that that's one of the things that other teams can't do is they can't fucking lose games and keep a positive attitude. Like you look at Mad Lions right now and you just sense like the depression coming from them like in the game.
Oh,
like,
no,
exactly. I guess we fucking lose another one, boys. It's fine. We'll turn it around at some point. We just have to go into the review and find our mistakes. Like it's like that type of shit. So when I look at SK, I mean, fuck, I really still don't think they're good at all. Like I really still think they're pretty bad. I don't know how Gilius keeps on getting Hecarim because he looked actually incapable of playing the meta. Like when he was on Jarvan's in, his engages just weren't it. Like he had no vision for like how fights should actually play out and when he could go in and when he couldn't, which was a little bit concerning. But I mean, they are winning games. Like shit, like they are winning games. I mean, I just think
it's too far. I've got a statement for you, but I don't know if it's too far or if it's just like
it's probably
true,
too far
just really mean. No, here's the question. Like, if they like, obviously, there's a world where they might actually sneak in the playoffs. They might nick that last 6 spot, right? If I look on paper, surely this is the worst team to ever play in the LEC playoffs. Surely.
I don't know. I mean, it's probably them or another one of their SK teams. Like SK's had some pretty fucking
bad. True. Yes.
Didn't Zaze make playoffs? Like, didn't that?
Oh, you're right. Actually, yeah. I think they were in like not last one, but they were in one. They were in one at that point. Yeah, I think you're right. Because I know they've actually snuck in over like the XLs of the world in the past, haven't they?
Yeah. The Zaze trick lineup made playoffs in a summer split. Even that's fucking crazy to even think about. I can't.
Pretty wild, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty fucking insane. I mean, it's one of the SK teams that's made it. I just don't think they'll make it because they have to like. I mean, it's really just coming down to this game, right? There's one game that will decide it.
Dude, it is so ridiculous that they're 2-0 over Vitality. Like, what even is?
No,
dude,
if you play Vitality this week.
Oh no, sorry. Yes, sorry. I'm thinking of fucking XL. That's right. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah. So SK is 2-0 over Mad Lions, so they're in a pretty good spot. But I feel like the game that decides.
You said yes. You were talking about the tiebreaker, right? Yes.
Yeah. So Vitality plays against SK this week. It's the 3rd game of LEC. I feel like if they go down, if they have a 2-game disadvantage to Vitality, it's doomed. Like then they're just fucking out. But if they win that game, then it gets kind of spicy. Then we might actually see some promise out of them. So, I mean, I think that's the game that decides it all. If they're going to make playoffs, it's pretty much a must win for them. I don't think that they make playoffs if they lose this.
No, I think, like, listen, forget the other teams I mentioned. This team will do nothing in the playoffs. Like, there's not even any world. Although I will say, in a weird way, the thing you pointed out about the contrasting, like, the personality style, I will say there is a weird thing about SK Gaming, which is, even though, in my opinion, this should be the team that, if you're in this team for the last 2 years, you should be depressed as fuck. Like, you go nowhere. No one cares, by the way. You have no fans at all. And the worst part is, everyone sees you on the schedule and goes, SK, that's a free win. But bizarrely, they almost do, like, keep the morale in the team up, I've noticed. Like, I don't know if it's the specific coaching staff they get or if they just set the expectations really low and no one feels like you got pressure, but it does always seem like actually people seem to just be able to get along in that team. I don't know why.
This is probably really fucked up to say, but I feel like all their players are just really happy to just be in LEC.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to. It was like, it's the Make-A-Wish scenario, isn't it? Like, they're just happy to be in LEC. It's like,
but if you think about them, right? Like, think about how many times Gilius got fucked over. Think about how many times Gilius got fucked. Think about Treats, man. This guy was like good enough to be in LCS that whole time he was in TSM Academy. And he kept on winning Academy or doing really well in Academy, and no one gave a fuck because no one watches NA Academy. And it's like, hey guys, like I'm good enough. And they're like, shut the fuck up. You're an import. We don't have room for an import slot, so you can just keep on doing it. So he finally gets into a team after years of fucking slaving away in Academy. I feel like all these players, and then the other ones, it's like Jesu and Gen X, like those guys, if those guys went down to like ERLs, it would just be like
from them again. You'd never hear from them again.
It would just be like one of those things like people wouldn't care that much. It'd be like Jessica. It's like Jessica going to like going to ERLs, right? Like no one cares that Jessica's in LFL. Some people are like, oh, he's actually pretty good, but no one actually thinks that's a big move. Sagenda going back to ERLs, it's like the same thing as if Gen X went back to ERL. Like I feel like that wouldn't be that huge. So I honestly feel like all these players are like just trying their best and they're like grateful for the opportunity. That's a better, instead of saying they're just happy to be in LEC, which sounds absurdly negative, let's just say that they're very grateful to be in LEC. That's a better way to say it. Got to clean things up, you know.
I do think though, like they essentially do have found money in fucking Gilius and Treats. Like I don't know how those players are in SK Gaming. Like, look, I'm not saying I'm taking them like Vitality or something, but look at some of the other, like some of the mid-table teams could use these fucking players. Like Treats especially, I don't get it, mate. I don't understand how how is he never getting offers? Does no one want this guy?
I mean, it's like one of the things is like
I don't get it.
People have this thing about age, right? He's
is he older or something? How old is he? Like 24 or something?
I think he might be 25 even. Treats LOL age.
Oh, you're right. He's 25. So in their brain, they think he's washed.
I mean, it's not even that. It's just that people are like, they're like, oh, I mean, he's good, but he's 25. But like, Mercer is like bad in 17 or some shit, or like he's 19 or something.
What's so weird about that though, dude, is like, think of the role he's playing. Like, that might make sense if we're talking about like a mid laner. Like raw mechanics can be a big deal. Like, CS is a big deal. If I'm the support player, like experience, that's probably one of the best roles ever for experience. I want the guy who's older, who knows more about the fucking game. I don't want some guy who just looked wicked for one split in an ERL or something. Like, what the fuck? What's that all about? Also, can we just stop doing that thing? People have got to stop this in League. Like, dude, why are we pretending like this is like 1980s NBA and you keep your team for 10 years? Realistically, unless you're the absolute best teams in the league, because they're the only ones who basically have the choice to sign the same players every year, realistically, every year of LCS or LEC just is 1 year. That's all it is. Like, yeah, if you do it right, if you GM really well and you're a fairly top team, say you were like the third or fourth best top team, maybe you can keep like the same core of 3 or 4 for a few years. Yeah, you could do that. But even then, it's very rare that you have like really successful cores that last more than 2 years, mate. So I think orgs are sort of like, they're sort of trying to be too much like sports like that, mate. Like, I don't, like, for example, it's the reason why I would sign some of these veterans for just 1 split or 1 year. It's like, that is just the game we're in at the moment. You're only as good as your last game in League of Legends. It's not about building for 3 years from now. You'd like to believe it. Like, for example, if you're Misfits, they're the best example. If this was sports, yeah, you build as though Vetheo is going to be in your team for 10 years. It isn't sports. You're probably going to be, like you said, you're probably going to sell him or he's going to walk in the off-season. That's just the world you're in, you know. So I think people put too much value on the idea of, like, finding the potential. Unless that potential shows up pretty quick in the next 2 splits, say, I'm not going for a potential if I'm a GM, mate. I'm going for the vet, you know.
What about the value? Because, like, realistically, let's say you get somebody like Treats in like a Misfits or something. Maybe you win that first playoff series. Do you go further than that? And then if not, is it worth the potential value of like getting this like young player that ends up being really good, having the next Mickey X in your team and just like selling him off eventually? I feel like this is how all GMs think. Maybe I'm just like too cynical about it.
You're right. The problem is, though, when they would say that line to me, Dom, I'd go, yeah, but the problem is you're not actually signing Mickey X. You just think you are. You're signing the 9 fake Mickey X's that don't make it out of the every 10. Because that's the problem. They would all sell it like you are. Like, basically, the joke is, a few years ago, the line always was, I'm looking for the next caps. And it's like, first of all, cocksucker, if you find even 3 of those, let me know. And then secondly, you're not getting the next caps, are you? You're getting the next fucking checker lad. So enjoy that for 1 split, and then he can fuck off, can't he?
Yeah.
It's the reality, sadly.
I mean, it was on our show that we got the famous line out of Jess's that yes. When he first watched Blue play, it was like watching Faker play.
No. Here's the sad thing, though, Dom. This is what fucked up. It's also part of why I'm actually a good host on shows. As fucked as that is, as long as I don't think he actually has like a real mental illness, it's like embarrassing himself. If I think he genuinely believes that, I'm like, brilliant, get him on the next show. Let's have him talk more. Like, that's why I used to love people like LS back in the day. I love it when someone's just got some mad tangent going. Like, I used to tell him, you know, all the fans were telling him, can you stop going on about shit like Street Fighter and trading card games? I don't follow Street Fighter. I was like, no, go the other way. I want more analogies. Like, how is this like the 4 Hokages from Naruto, the way these like mid-lane champions are being played? Give me more crazy shit, mate. Like that video he made back in the day, that man versus machine one. Look, if you don't know anything about League, it'll look really unhinged. It does just look like, you know, the numbers, Mason. What are the numbers all about? Like, it is like that. But if you're into the game, it's the shit. It's just going so deep. I'm loving it. Right, what about this then? We haven't talked yet about the best team in the league, which actually is, and there's not even any excuse. It just is Rogue. It's the only team that can be the best. It's the only team, Dom, that doesn't even look whack. Even after that week where they lost to Astralis, like they're actually still really good. That just looks for real. In fact, this is what I want to get into on that. Now that I've seen them play after the week that they lost the 2 games, that actually looks like they were just experimenting in draft that week, dude. Like they looked like they went a little bit away from like the conservative style they normally take in that team.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I think that Morong is like still the same way that everyone's talked about him. I think that's actually really accurate when all the pro players were like, you live and die by him. He goes for a lot of cheese ganks. Look, when his ganks work out, they look like that. When he's just having bad games that he's not able to find angles, he's just super far behind, and then he's like 0-5. You have a 0-5 CDR boots Lee Sin on your team.
You actually think, like, are his ganks that you're talking about, is he going for a lot of risky ones, do you think? Like, I mean, is he gambling a lot?
Yeah, I mean, there's just ganks that if they don't work out, like, he is fucked. Like, actually fucked. Like, he's even fucked after they work. That's how fucked they are. So, I mean, there's just situations where he's, like, playing champions that are just illegal in certain spots. Like, so I mean, we talked about it already when we were talking about Mad Lions, but that game where he's playing Hecarim, he has no camp. Like, he has 4 camps up. Enemy team has 12. It has 8 camps plus they have prio on both crabs. So it's literally like a 10 camp to 4 camp situation in the jungle, because he cannot vertical jungle in that situation. Like, Hecarim can't just walk into the enemy jungle with Ghost and like QW if you get late invaded. And he actually can't contest anything because he doesn't have like prio on the map. So because he's playing against like a Ryze mid. So that's a situation where his pathing was blue Gromp Wolves into bot lane. That's his gank. Blue Gromp Wolves into bot lane, and the other guy's getting just 9 fucking camps. And even after it works, LUA is still huge. LUA has like a 20 CS lead. Up until the Herald fight went completely terribly for Mad Lions, LUA is just going to be ahead of the rest of the game. So those are like the ganks where I'm looking at it. I'm like, this has to work. And it was creative. It was well done, I will say, because there was a ward that he pathed around intelligently. Like, he really went for a great angle on that, where he like skirted the edge of mid lane to get into the river. So it's not like he's doing bad ganks. It's just all of his ganks have massive cost to them. Like, if you were to do a fucking cost analysis on all of his ganks, it is just like crazy. It's like, bro, you are losing even if it works all the time. Those are the ganks that this guy loves going for. So I think
that way, I would actually low-key love to see a piece of content like that. You know, like, basically, if people don't know it, even though I actually think a lot of the actual points he makes are semi-shit, that premise of, like, the blame game, the actual conceit is genius. The idea of, like, trying to decide, are fans correctly? Is this right? Is this wrong? Similarly, right, for one thing, for real, I would really love, the 2 roles that I think were the best at this for is support and top lane, is I would love to see a video where someone who's a true expert on top lane shows you when it wasn't the fault of the top lane that his lane was fucked. Because I've seen loads, I've told you, where my friends who are the top lanes, if I message them, they'll explain like a million great reasons as to why, like, there's actually nothing I could do there. But if you're a fan, you're like, he's just behind, what's he doing? The jungle one's the worst one, though, because the one I always wanted to see is this. The problem is, ever since, like, let's be real, I'm going to say, like, what, like season fucking 5 onwards, a gank hasn't just been a gank for years at this point in time. Like, as you say, it's more about things like, what's the risk reward? What's the opportunity cost? Like, sometimes you can even do the gank and it fucks up your whole jungle path in. Like, it just puts you behind. Like, I would love to know, like, sort of a grading on which of these are, which are good, etc. Essentially, it's the equivalent of if you did, like, an NFL game and you were like, you know, this quarterback did land all these throws, but they were actually, like, really dodgy throws in a double, you know, you shouldn't have gone for these. You should have lost the game. I'd love to see that. It'd be a great piece of content.
Yeah, it'd be a great piece of content. Too bad no one actually gives a fuck about that stuff.
Probably too boring. It's probably like me and 7 people would watch it. Yeah, it's true. That's true. It's the way I do say that. I say that like it's worth your time. Meanwhile, if you just made a video where right now you just started talking about stuff about LS, even stuff you don't know about, just speculate, it would get 10 times more views.
Yeah. If I made a view, like, if I made a video, just complete bullshit and everything, and was like, the reasons why I think that LS actually deserved to be fired from Cloud9 had no facts, and just like went into like videos and like looked at like, oh, and when he like looked this way with his eyes, you could actually see a little bit into his mind and how he views the players as less than, like, if you made some video like that, yeah, sure, it would get some hate, but it would get a fuck ton of fucking views. Sure. But if I made like this video, think about how much work that would be. I mean, I'm just looking at examples that come to mind right off the top, but then I actually have to go back into them and verify like all these correct, and then chart the pathing, and then make a spreadsheet that like Emily Rand style, where it's like, okay, so what is at this time he does this, and then not only just look at what he's doing, look at what the other jungler is doing, and like what the other jungler could have possibly done with the information that he had. It's just not fucking worth. And the thing that's so funny about analytical content like that is that people will always tell you that that's what they really want, but no one actually wants it. Yeah.
No, because here's the problem, Dom. I'll give you the analogy. It's like if you ever ask a normal person, what are your top 10 bands? They don't tell you their top 10 bands. They tell you what they want other people to think their top 10 bands are, and therefore what that would reflect about them. So, like, famously, if you ask about movies or books, they'll always pick some book there's no way they really loved, like, you know, fucking obscure, like, 19th century novel. Or if it movies, they'll pick some, like, black and white movie from 1950. You're like, really, bro? That's your number 1 movie of all time? Like, if I ask you, you're sucking a bonker forever, you're watching fucking, like, The Bicycle Thieves. So, yeah, I don't think you are. You know, you're watching, like, fucking, somewhat sick, like, fucking,
I don't know,
whatever,
man.
Prestige or yours Inception 10 times, aren't you? You're not watching that again.
I don't
but
know.
yeah, they do the same because
there's some banger 19th century literature out there. I don't know. I might throw
some.
It
probably is. But the point is, in this scenario, that's why they say that, Dom. What they want everyone to believe is everyone on Reddit wants you to believe they're all like their own version of LS, like a giga brain who has their own unique thing. They've watched all the matches in history. But the reality is, half of them are just like a fucking fan of TSM, like, I hate Jensen. And they're like, fuck no, wait, that won't go down well. Jensen is bad at Rise. You know what I mean? Like, they're just like, that's essentially Reddit right there, isn't it? Like, because the joke is, if people don't know, especially back in the day, for real, TSM fans used to be so shameless because they used to get called out, if you remember back in the day. They would like take the TSM flare off to make a negative comment and then like put it back on a day later. Like, they were so bad back in the day. You remember, it was so ridiculous. Like, you had to like cross-reference them, like do a background check. Right, what about this then? So one thing I did actually have to ask about this with Rogue is, like I said there were about the drafting angle, because I looked it up as well. They also said, I saw an interview with Trimby, which was on, I think it was on Inven. I'm trying to remember the sites I saw these on, if possible, if people want to go and check them. And he basically said, like, that they, like, for example, the game they lost against Zeri, he basically said they just left that up because they'd previously played G2, who used it as an ADC, obviously, and they just, like, won that game. So it was like, we thought we could handle it or whatever. So that even implies that they're actually starting to try and change up the draft a little bit. And actually, maybe, this might be copium, motherfucker, maybe they actually know, Dom, that in the playoffs, they might not be able to just iterate these same drafts a million times, and they're trying things out to see where the holes are there. I just need to believe, I have to believe one team's good in LEC, Dom. There has to be one good team. I can't just loads of fucking flawed teams. That's one real team.
I just feel like that would actually be good enough. I don't like, that's my core instinct. The problem is that wasn't good enough when there was a G2 and Fnatic in the league. That's when
or Mad Lions.
Yeah, or Mad Lions from last year.
Yes.
Right now, when it's this open, I feel like the team that actually has an idea, because who the fuck does, like, if Fnatic suddenly gets down their 4-man bot dives and they're like, fuck it, we are playing TF, Rise, whatever, we're showing up behind your turret with fucking Hillsong bot lane at 3 minutes and 15 seconds, and we're diving. If they started doing that every fucking game and it just was like working, I'd be like, yeah, that's good enough. You're the best team in LEC. Like, it's actually that open to me, where if any team like has a solid identity and a solid game plan and they have enough champions to bolster it out, that you can't just ban it out and you actually are going to have to out strategize it, I think you've got it this split. I think the split is good enough for that. So that's where I stand. I mean, I could be wrong, right? Like maybe teams will improve for playoffs like they always do. But right now it seems really open. And I don't think that teams have strong enough fundamentals to like not only play their own fucking game, but then be like countering plays that they are not used to countering.
No, I'm with you. I mean, that's also why I made the point before. The problem is there's no like traditional core that has already had playoff success that can just do it again. Like, there's no one to feel like, oh, they're the insurance policy. That doesn't exist. And then the other thing is as well, by the way, I'll just give a spoiler to fans who don't know what it's like behind the scenes. You know, when we did the episode with Alfari and he was telling us all crazy shit, like, didn't he have like G2 as like the real best team in the league or whatever, and like secretly like they're the best in script? Like, but spoiler, that's what talking to all fucking pros is like. They always have some weird angle on like, this team's like way better than you think they are, bro. It's like, it? I've watched the games. It doesn't look like it.
So what he said was that he thinks Fnatic is probably. He said that Rogue was not going to win. He said that Fnatic and G2 were like the best teams.
Yes,
and he would believe more in G2 winning than Rogue winning because G2 has a higher ceiling. That was like kind of the angle to contextualize it more. Honestly, I don't even know if that's a terrible take. I mean, I think that's probably fine. Like, if you believe that, like, I probably think that Fnatic does have the best chance, even though Razork is like not doing the way, not playing the way he should. This guy is better than he's showing. If he just steps it up a little bit, like the team's fucking golden. I mean, they just have their players are too good, and they have like a bunch of champions, right? Like Hilly's won, Humanoids won, Wonders won a fucking million times. They know what winning's like. And Upset, I feel like, is the best player on the team or the second best player on the team. So
the thing is, though, like, first of all, I can't believe I'm in the position in 2022 where I'm the one arguing, like, it's not good enough to just play mages. You have to do more. But anyway, that's just the world. That's to be painted into this corner by all you fuckers just pretending Caps is still fine. But it's worse than that. Like, you have to understand, luckily, I actually get along with Alfari. So in general, unless he really annoyed me, I'd never really, like, fucking snap on him. But I was part of me thinking when he was trying to defend Caps and Thorin, I was still the best or whatever. I wanted to just be like, bro, I actually watch the LPL sometimes. You're not going to gaslight me that you can't 1v9 on fucking mid lane champions, or that you have to play Orianna. Like, yeah, you don't. You just don't. Like, I can go right now and watch my boy Knight, fucking rookie. I can go watch all these fuckers just fucking dump cream. All these guys will smash the game. Like, this is nonsense. Like, you're not going to pretend, because what they tried to do, all these pros who are playing defense for caps, they're trying to make it sound dumb. Like, this is like 2 years ago and we're in like a corky fucking Azir meta. Like, well, what can you do? You know, you can only play those champions and he's bloody stuck in lane. It's like, that isn't even true. Like, think about everything we said about Vetheo earlier. This guy just fucking shit stomps everyone. And he doesn't even just play as set champions. He doesn't just play the Zoe or whatever. He plays like the fucking, or his old picks like Akali or whatever. He plays everything. He plays Yasuo if he needs to. Like, he's just a fucking monster, mate. It's just about how you play as a player. So the thing about G2 in general is, mate, like, I get why people think they're good, but I still feel like there's a top gear. Like, I don't think they can win. That's my problem. I think they should be like a semi-finalist or something. They look pretty good overall. Like I said in every episode, every time I watch Sargama's play, he does look really good. He looks like that pick was golden.
Except for this week.
Whoever came with that wasn't that great in those on show. But like in general, they look pretty good. I feel like they haven't got the extra gear to be like the champion for me.
Yeah, I just don't think that they. So normally when I look at teams that win, they normally have like systems, and I don't really think that G2 has a system. They're just like completely just playing the game based on how it feels. And I feel like a lot of their strength just comes from having like unique players. And like, I mean, everyone's pretty good. I definitely think the players are pretty good, but I don't see like any systems. There's not anything they're doing like for example, Mad Lions mid game where I was like, oh shit, that's really fucking smart. Oh, if you start doing that, that's fucking scary. They don't have anything that makes me feel like that. They're just like normally winning by being really intuitive. They kind of remind me of like 100 Thieves in a way, where they just have a good sense for like which fights they can win. When 100 Thieves won NA last year, they have good sense for which fights can win, and maybe that could actually win, because I don't think that there's any team that's like guaranteed to be on a different level. But yeah, I mean, it's really just like fight sense, like just general game sense from having a bunch of good players, and then having some like weird situational counter picks top. I feel like those are like the things that make teams scary. I just normally see teams like that win. I mean, it's part of the same reason that I thought 100 Thieves was going to lose last year. I think that there's a limit to that type of stuff. And when I don't see you like clearly know how to like set up dragons and barons mid to late game with all 5 members, it normally just makes me think that that's just not going to be a championship.
Actually, along those lines, then, maybe as a last topic, one thing I want to ask you about a lot is who do you think in LEC actually has legit good team fighting? Because I have to say, there's another factor of old League of Legends where you could have these like rhythms to the way the splits went. The other thing the veterans would always tell me privately was like if it's someone like Perks, they'd be like, look, bro, it doesn't really matter like who's winning off meta picks now or weird stuff in the draft or best of one. He's like, if it's in a best of X series and my team's better at team fighting, we're just going to win. Like the veterans are going to win out. It's all going to work out in the end. And that's how you have confidence. Yeah. At the moment, dude, again, there's another problem in LEC. I look at the teams and like, mate, some of the big name rosters, like Vitality themselves, can get in this fucking mess. Mate, Carty's had some fucking rough team fights, mate. Like, I think a lot of the teams look pretty rough in team fighting. Who's actually good for you?
Rogue, I guess. I feel like Rogue is normally pretty decent in the fights they take. I mean, we haven't talked enough about him because probably on the show, but I think Trimby has actually really stepped up. Like, I think
he's definitely better than he was last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that him and Hillsong are the best 2 supports in LEC. Like that's what I would say. There. So I think he's very good. And I think that he's starting to like really understand how to move his team around. Because when I look at them, like, do I think Marong just came into the team and he's like directing that much of the flow of the game? When I see them do like their Rift Herald swaps, like on tempo and stuff, it's like, damn, like Trimmy's fucking, like, he knows his shit. He understands the game. Like, he was around it enough that he just knows what to do. And that's really special because most players can't do that. Can't actually like read the whole game for the team and just like get their team in advantageous situations. So I think that's really important. I mean, you have a really good fucking mage player, you have a really good tank player, and you have a really good support. That's normally the recipe for team fighting. So
for sure,
I think Rogue is pretty legit when it comes to team fighting, but the problem is that like not every game is just straight up going to be winnable through team fighting. And yeah, I mean, that's my biggest issue with Rogue is like how they play when they can't do that. And right now, like I said, I think their style is good enough to win. But I do think it's limited. I think at some point you actually have to be able to fit everything else into that, like into your game so that you at least have enough threat elsewhere. And maybe they pull off something different. Look, I used to talk the same way about EDG when EDG won LPL going into the finals. They were playing weak side top pretty much every fucking game. That was their strategy. Like Flandre, like you just take Renekton or some shit, or a set or whatever the fuck it is, Ornn, and you're just weak side. You're just up there and you come to the team fights. And then one of the reasons I felt like they threw FPX for such a loop in that finals is the fact that they started pulling out Lucian top. And I think that Odo actually has the mechanics to pull it off. I just feel like the rest of the team doesn't really know how to play when they actually have to care about top lane. Like, the game is easier when you can just be like, yeah, I mean, whatever, they're going top and they're like zoning our top laner, but it's okay. He can just like drop the waves and we can just play bot side. The game is a lot easier when you can make that decision, as opposed to when it's a carry versus carry matchup and you think to yourself, we have to fucking be there on that wave. Like, if he loses this wave, this is a volatile matchup. If he's down a level or he loses this wave, like, he's just behind the rest of the fucking game. So I think that would be the next step for them. And I don't think that Rogue could never do it. I just don't think they have to right now.
I even think that might even be part of what explains Trimby's evolution. Obviously, he's also played more splits, and why the team's different now, right? The more I think about it now, I almost feel like Inspired. It's bizarre because on paper he did look like the best player a lot of the time in the team, but he also clearly was like a limiting factor because of his playing style. Like, if I look at their team, dude, the few times they ever would give Odoamne like a fucking Jace top or something, even in playoff series, Inspired never fucking showed up, or he just, like, the second it looked like the lane Zuzi, he just abandons you. It's like fucking solo queue. Like, I was joking solo queue, like, if I ever played jungle, I'm the most ruthless motherfucker of all time. I'm like Donald Trump on The Apprentice. I'm like, you're fired, like, never come into your lane ever again. You've gone down 2 kills as a gangplank, top, fuck you, I'm just going bot all game long now. Like, it's over for you. Listen, you can beg me, you can type anything. Don't bother, I won't get in an argument with you. I'll just jettison you out the airlock and you're just gone for the rest of the game. That's like what they used to do to fucking Odoamne. So even though I agree, he certainly can play carries, especially if it's like the right matchup, etc. The problem is the Inspired Rogue never enabled that at all, or it just wasn't their vibe. Remember, their vibe was like every lane has to fucking win, which is like, what a mad concept for League of Legends that is as a jungler. Like, imagine that's like jungler privilege. Like, if every lane is winning, then I shall gank all of your lanes. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, what? Imagine bringing Synchro in and telling him that's like the fucking circumstances. So I also think that's the problem people don't consider for Trimby last year. He was playing with Hans Sammer, who, as far as I can tell, if you play with him, you just locked in lane. Secondly, he's not really known as a very vocal player, Hans Sammer. And then thirdly, your support is essentially just a farming jungler who just sort of seems to gank on his own terms. Like, that's pretty hard to walk into that as a support player and then have people basically tell you, oh, just replace Vander and all these veterans and just be the best immediately. Because obviously his problem was because he came into the best team in the regular season, he was getting all the scrutiny and he was being contrasted against Vander 24/7. So I imagine it was a fucking really hard circumstance. As you say, it looks like every split he's gotten better.
Yep. Maybe Mercer can do the same thing, because I feel like Mercer's kind of in a similar situation where he's coming in and he's inting a lot. But the thing that actually makes me confident is when a player is having like a clear rough go of it as a rookie and they're actually like confident enough, they have enough, they're secure enough as a person to just be like honest about, like, when you hear Mercer talk, he's like, I think I'm playing pretty bad, but like the rest of the team's doing well and like we can improve from here. I feel like that's the most based fucking mindset that you could have. And Trimby said the same thing. He was like, in interviews, he's like, yeah, I'm running it down. And the fact that he identified he was running it down means that, like, then he can improve on it. And now he's just not fucking running it down. So
here's the analogy of all time, Dom. Are you ready? This is what it's like. As mad as it sounds, I actually agree with you, right? Unless the only time I don't like people to sound confident as players is if they're like, if they essentially explicitly say, like, I don't like believe in myself, or I don't even know what's going wrong, or I don't know what's going on here. I actually like it though when, like you're saying, they're realistic though. When people can actually say, like, actually I didn't have a great game, I should have done more. Or even like say you win the game, you're like, I won, but I almost got caught in a couple of times. I find that sort of realism, that actually does suggest, by the way, like you have a reflective mind, you're willing to have like a beginner's mind, overcome problems. So the analogy is like this, and this is a straight fire analogy if people use programs like Instagram. So if you ever use Instagram, right, one of the things that's different, I've noticed bizarrely, between men and women on Instagram is men tend to just post a picture, like an Instagram picture, and just leave it at that. But I notice women tend to use it for the stories function to replace like Snapchat. No, this is a good point. This is an observation. So the observation I've made is this, right? In the stories, because they're all obviously, like, in theory, it's a bit like Snapchat, they disappear after a day and like they're supposed to be temporary and not exist forever. People are just giving their thoughts about stuff, right? There's a trend I've noticed, and if you get this trend, you'll know why I'm tying it to the player here, right? You would think that everyone on Instagram, it's all about showing visually yourself off. They'd all just be flexing all the filters and everything. Like, there's a famous trend that really good-looking girls on Instagram always, every now and then, will do a post that's like, this is me without makeup, guys. Like, I just want to I want to sort of address the problems in our society and the expectations on people. And, or even not even just the ones without makeup, the ones where they intentionally make their face look stupid. Like, this is me when I'm just on my own, guys. Like, this is when I woke up, and they make themselves look as shit as possible, right? Here's the problem, Dom. There's a flaw in what they're thinking about. No one who actually looks bad and really thinks they look like shit would make themselves look even worse in an image and put it on the internet. If you do that, it's actually a low-key humble brag that you're really good looking. And that's why you can pretend like, this is what I usually look like, guys. You won't bloody believe this. So it's the same, right? If a player can actually admit for real, like, yeah, he had a bad game, that means he probably is really sick. If he does it in a legit way, though, like I said, if he's just broken, who gives a fuck at that point? Like, if you're out like that, like, I can't stand modeling people, but if you can do it for real, like, you're actually reflective, that actually, to me, is a sign, like, you can improve. You're going to actually, you won't need us for 3 years, like some of the players do, to go, like, why is he bad at this? And then they just deny it, like, oh, I don't choke, I don't have problems with weak side. Like, instead of those stupid, like, our own main rogue conversations, if they just themselves, like, in the second conversation were like, yeah, maybe you've got a point, you'd be like, fuck, he's onto it, he's gonna fix it. Like, I want people with that mentality. So I'll agree, this interview I saw with Trimby, he actually seemed like he also had, like, the right mindset, mate, of, like, he didn't get discouraged by all the things. He knew he'd only been in a couple of splits, he's working with all his big name teammates. So I guess the key for me would be, if the Mercer guy actually does think that way, he hasn't just collapsed in mentally on himself because he hasn't one dodgy looking split, then the potential's there. I'm sure they brought him into the team for a reason. I don't think they just picked him up as a random. I heard some good things from him.
I believe in him, man. Like, I'm telling you, like, there's something about, like, I know it sounds like almost judgmental. I'm not sure how to say it really, but, like, when I watch, like, so there's been a lot of successful Polish junglers in LEC, right? And there've been a lot of successful Eastern European players, and I feel like they have a confidence, and, like, they're, like, tough mentally, which makes me always believe in, like, players like that will say that. So, like, when Tribby was saying, like, yeah, I'm running it down, I just believed in him, like, it's something about, like, just the bluntness of that culture that makes me really respect, like, the fact that they are going to actually improve, because they're not afraid of, like, saying what it is. And it's just, like, kind of how they talk to. I mean, Jankos is, like, he's barely even Polish anymore. Like, with the way he talks, like, this guy's like,
yes. He's mega westernized now, mate.
Yeah, he's mega westernized.
He's got all the banter down, all the fucking, like, self-deprecating humor, of course. He's got it all down now, yeah.
Yeah, but, like, dude, I just believe in Eastern European players when they have that, like, their tough mentality, Like, it's just, you see it everywhere, man. You see it everywhere. You see it with Perks' mentality. You see it, you see it with Inspired. Like, you just talk to these guys, you feel, like, the fucking confidence coming out of them. So I think that, like, even though Mersa has been bad, the fact that he's so real in interviews, like we said, gotta respect it. You gotta respect, like, the fact that he's trying. And, like, look, if he sucks, maybe he's gonna be the type of person that's like, yeah, maybe I do need to, like, fucking play in ERLs or something. Like, maybe I do need to improve. Is what it is.
Maybe he'll just be like, yeah, Mickey X should replace me. Maybe I tied the story to right. Okay, it turned out I looked it up. It was actually episode 5 on the last one. I was wrong on that one. So this is the end of episode 6 of the best Damn League Show period. Thank you to IWillDominate, my co-host here. Special thanks to our producer, and no thanks at all to the fans who don't make any of this possible. They just click the video.